Imagine walking into a room where conversations are already buzzing. Voices overlap, opinions clash, ideas compete for attention, and then you speak. In that single moment, the noise fades. People turn toward you, not because you're the loudest, but because your words carry weight. There's something about the way you speak, calm, clear, confident, that makes people want to listen. That's the power of a leader's voice. Talking like a leader has nothing to do with status, money, or position. It's not about commanding authority. It's about earning it through the way you communicate. It's the tone that says, "I know where I'm going, and you can trust me to lead the way." This audiobook is your journey into mastering that voice. The voice that inspires action, builds trust, and transforms uncertainty into confidence. By the end of this journey, you won't just speak differently, you'll be heard differently, because true leadership doesn't start when others listen to you. It starts when you believe your words matter. Welcome to How to Talk Like a Leader. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Language of Presence. There's a moment that changes everything. You walk into a room. You don't say a word, yet somehow people feel you. They don't know why, but their eyes shift toward you. Their attention follows. Their energy adjusts. It's not about power, fame, or the volume of your voice. It's something deeper. It's presence. Before a leader ever speaks, they arrive, and when they do, their energy speaks first. It tells a silent story, a story of self-respect, confidence, and composure. That is where leadership truly begins. In the quiet authority of presence. Most people think leadership is about what you say, but if your presence doesn't speak before your words do, no one will truly hear you. Because leadership isn't about commanding attention, it's about earning it. It's about creating a space where others naturally want to listen, not because they have to, but because something about your being draws them in. Presence is not an act. It's a reflection of what's happening inside you. When you are grounded, calm, and certain of your worth, your presence becomes magnetic. You don't need to shout, rush, or prove yourself. You simply are. Think of the greatest leaders in history, the ones who could walk into chaos and bring stillness with them. They weren't loud. They weren't desperate to be seen. They were centered, and that centeredness made them powerful. To talk like a leader, you must first be a leader in your energy. Every conversation you enter is affected by the state of your inner world. If your mind is scattered, your words will stumble. If your heart is anxious, your tone will betray it. But when you are aligned, mind steady, heart open, your words flow effortlessly. Presence is not something you perform, it's something you practice. It begins in the silence before you speak. It's how you breathe, how you stand, how you look at someone when they're talking to you. It's how you hold your own energy when no one else is watching. You can't fake presence. People feel truth even before they hear it. They can sense when your confidence is real, and they can sense when it's borrowed from ego. Real presence comes from peace, not performance. Let's imagine something. You're about to speak to a group of people. You feel the tension in the air, the pressure to sound right, to make an impact. But before you say anything, you take one slow breath. You ground yourself in that moment. You remind yourself that your worth isn't measured by their reaction, but by your intention. And then you speak, not to impress, but to connect. That's presence. Every great communicator understands this truth. People don't just hear your words, they feel your state. Your presence tells them whether to trust you, whether to follow you, whether to believe what you say. When your inner world is calm, your outer world aligns with it. That's when your voice starts to carry weight, not because it's louder, but because it's truer. To cultivate presence, you must first learn to silence the inner noise. The doubts that whisper, "You're not enough." The comparisons that say, "Look how they do it better." The fears that scream, "Don't mess this up." Those voices aren't you. They are echoes of insecurity, born from a mind that's forgotten its own power. Leaders silence those echoes, not by fighting them, but by seeing through them. They breathe, return to stillness, and speak from a place beyond fear. That's the space where real influence is born. Presence is also about what you don't say. A leader's silence can speak volume. When you pause before responding, when you let a moment breathe, you show that you are in control of your thoughts, not ruled by them. You teach others that strength isn't found in reaction, but in restraint. The pause is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's in those spaces between words that your authority grows, because a leader who isn't afraid of silence commands more attention than one who constantly fills it. Presence doesn't just happen in front of others, it begins in solitude. When you wake up in the morning before the world asks anything of you, who are you in that silence? Do you rush to your phone, to noise, to distraction? Or do you take a breath, feel your own energy, and remember that you are already enough before the day even begins? That moment of stillness, that brief connection with yourself, it's not just a habit, it's a rehearsal for leadership. Because if you can command your own attention, you'll have no trouble commanding the attention of others. To talk like a leader, you must live like one even when no one is listening. You must be comfortable with stillness, confident in your quiet power, and willing to let your truth unfold naturally. People follow those who make them feel safe, and presence is safe. It tells others, you don't need to rush. I'm here. I'm steady. You can trust me. There's a deep calm that radiates from someone who has nothing to prove. That's the kind of presence that makes people lower their guard. They sense your authenticity. They lean in. They listen differently. So let me ask you this. When you speak, what energy walks into the room with you? Is it tension or peace? Is it insecurity or confidence? Because before you ever say a word, your energy has already delivered your message. This is why presence matters so deeply. It's the foundation of every other leadership skill. Clarity, tone, confidence, persuasion, they all begin here. Without presence, your words are just sound. With presence, your words become influence. Every great leader knows how to pause before the first word. That single breath before speaking, that's where leadership begins. Because that breath carries the choice between reaction and intention, between chaos and composure, between noise and power. And when you choose intention, when you step into a room already centered, you don't just talk like a leader, you become one. So from this moment forward, before every conversation, every meeting, every chance to speak, take that one breath, feel your feet grounded, feel your energy steady. And remember, your presence is your introduction. Before you ever open your mouth, you've already begun leading. Because the world doesn't follow words, it follows energy. It follows the calm strength that says, I'm not here to impress. I'm here to make an impact. That's the beginning of transformation, the first layer of what it truly means to talk like a leader. And once you master presence, something powerful happens next. Because the moment you've anchored your energy, the next step is learning how to use your voice to project that power. That's where we go next, into the heart of calm communication, where your voice stops competing with noise and starts commanding it. Chapter 2. The Power of Calm. There's a special kind of strength that doesn't roar. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't fight to be heard. It simply exists, quiet, grounded, unshakable. You can feel it when you meet someone who has mastered it. Their presence doesn't rush. Their words don't stumble. They carry themselves like the eye of a storm, still, steady, centered, no matter how much chaos swirls around them. That is the power of calm, and in the language of leadership, calm isn't just a tone, it's a force. Most people underestimate what calm truly means. They think it's passive, soft, indifferent, but calm is not the absence of power, it's the mastery of it. It's the ability to choose stillness when everything in you wants to react. It's what separates those who lead from those who simply respond. Imagine standing in front of a team that's overwhelmed. Everyone's nervous, mistakes have been made, deadlines are slipping, and then you speak slowly, evenly, without panic. Your voice becomes the anchor. People begin to breathe again. Because your calm tells them something words alone never could. We're going to be okay. Calm is contagious. It spreads faster than fear when it's genuine, and that's why it's one of a leader's most valuable tools. But calm isn't something you perform, it's something you become. It grows out of self-mastery, the discipline to not let emotion dictate your message. It's the art of being fully present, even when pressure tries to pull you apart. Think about it. When someone yells at you, your instinct is to match their volume. When someone challenges you, your instinct is to defend. But leadership isn't about matching energy, it's about directing it. When you remain calm, you shift the emotional temperature of the entire interaction. You teach others, without saying a word, that control doesn't come from force, it comes from focus. Calm is not weakness. It's power restrained by wisdom. It's the quiet confidence that says, I don't need to prove I'm right. I just need to stay grounded in what's true. In your voice, calm sounds like certainty. It sounds like intention. It sounds like the difference between talking to impress and talking to influence. But here's the truth. Calm doesn't come naturally to most of us. We live in a world addicted to reaction. Every headline screams urgency. Every conversation is a competition for attention. And when everyone around you is rushing, calm can almost feel unnatural. But that's exactly why it stands out. When you are calm, you become noticeable in the best way. You become the one others turn to for guidance. You become the voice that restores clarity when confusion takes over. Learning calm is like training a muscle. It begins in small moments. The moments when you want to interrupt, to correct, to defend yourself. Pause instead. Take one breath. Remind yourself that silence isn't losing, it's leading. Because that pause gives your mind time to respond instead of react. Every pause you take builds strength. Every time you choose to slow your words, you deepen your impact. When you speak with calm precision, people don't just hear you, they feel you. They trust you more because calm communicates something powerful: control. Control not over others, but over yourself. Think of calm as emotional gravity. When you're centered, others begin to settle around you. Your stillness pulls them back to balance. You become the grounding force in every conversation, meeting and moment of tension. But don't mistake calm for perfection. Even the most composed leaders feel stress. The difference is, they don't let stress leak through their voice. They don't project panic onto others. They carry responsibility like water in cupped hands, steady, careful, deliberate. Calm isn't denial. It's awareness. It's seeing the full picture without losing perspective. It's being able to say, yes, things are difficult, but panic won't solve them. Every time you hold your calm, you teach people how to treat you. You show them you can't be provoked, manipulated, or thrown off course easily. And when people realize they can't shake your composure, they start to trust your leadership. There's something magnetic about a calm voice. It cuts through noise like light through fog. It invites attention instead of demanding it. It tells people, you can relax now, someone capable is speaking. To cultivate that tone, practice the rhythm of stillness. Before you speak, breathe. Before you respond, observe. Let your words come from understanding, not impulse. Because when you speak from calm, every word lands with intention. You don't need to be the loudest in the room to be heard. You just need to be the one who sounds like they know. Chapter 3. The Battle Within. Mastering the voice in your head. There's a voice inside you. You know it well because it's been with you your entire life. It whispers when you wake up. It echoes when you fail. It questions when you try to grow. It's that inner dialogue that tells you what you can't do, what you shouldn't try, and why it's safer to stay the same. That voice, your mind's own creation, can be your greatest enemy or your most loyal ally. The difference lies in how you respond to it. And make no mistake, learning to master that voice is one of the most powerful transformations you will ever experience. Every human being carries this internal battle, the one between the voice that pushes forward and the voice that pulls back, the one that says you can and the one that insists you can't. Most people don't even realize how much of their life is controlled by that constant inner noise. They live as prisoners of their own mind, repeating patterns they didn't choose, following fears they never questioned. But here's the truth most people never discover. That voice is not you. It's the echo of your past. It's the reflection of your fears. It's the residue of the beliefs you've collected, from family, from failure, from pain. And once you learn to separate your true self from that voice, everything begins to change. Imagine standing at the edge of a mounting cliff. The air is sharp, the drop is deep, and that voice in your head screams, "Don't jump, don't risk." But deep down, another part of you, quieter, calmer, but wiser, says, "You were meant to fly." That's the moment of truth. The battle between who you've been and who you are becoming. And that battle happens every single day, in every decision, every hesitation, every step toward growth. The problem isn't that the voice exists. It always will. The problem is that we've never learned how to challenge it. You see, the mind loves pattern. It repeats what's familiar, even when it's harmful. So if fear was your teacher, your mind will replay fear. If doubt was your comfort zone, your mind will keep feeding you reasons to stay small. The mind doesn't care about your dreams, it cares about your safety. And growth feels dangerous to it, because growth means stepping into uncertainty. So what happens when you start moving toward your highest potential? That voice gets louder, it begins to argue, it warns, it doubts, it panics, not because it hates you, but because it doesn't yet understand the new version of you. But here's what's remarkable: when you learn to observe that voice without obeying it, you become the master of your own mind. You begin to recognize that every fear, every excuse, every hesitation is simply the mind trying to protect an outdated version of yourself. So when the voice says you're not ready, you respond, "Maybe not, but I'm willing." When it says, "What if you fail?" you answer, "Then I'll learn." And when it whispers, "Who are you to dream that big?" you smile and reply, "Who am I not to?" Mastery begins with awareness. The moment you start listening differently, everything inside you begins to shift, because you realize the mind is loud, but your truth is quiet. And it's in that quiet, beneath all the noise, that your real power lives. Think of your mind as a room filled with echoes. Every voice from your past, every criticism, every judgment, every failure still lingers there. Most people live trapped in that room, thinking those echoes define who they are. But you're learning to step outside. You're learning to open the door, let the noise fade, and finally hear your own voice again. That's what self-mastery truly is. Not the absence of fear, but the ability to move through it with awareness and control. When you master the voice in your head, you take back your freedom. You begin to choose your thoughts instead of being chosen by them. Chapter 4. The Power of Focus. Guarding the gate of your mind. The world is louder than it has ever been. Every second, something fights for your attention. A notification, a headline, a message, a distraction disguised as importance. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to lose the one thing that shapes everything about your life: your focus. Focus is more than attention. It's the energy that decides where your life goes. Whatever you give your focus to grows. Whatever you neglect fades. If you focus on fear, fear expands. If you focus on growth, growth multiplies. If you focus on the noise, you lose yourself in it. But if you focus on your purpose, everything changes. You see, your mind is like a powerful gate. Every thought, every emotion, every influence is knocking, asking for permission to enter. Most people never realize they are the gatekeeper. They let everything in: opinions, negativity, distractions, doubts, and slowly their inner world becomes cluttered, chaotic, and confused. But those who rise, those who build extraordinary lives, they guard that gate fiercely. They decide what gets in and what stays out. Focus is the invisible line that separates the distracted from the disciplined. It's the difference between progress and procrastination, between peace and chaos, between the person who dreams and the person who builds. And here's the truth: your life will always move in the direction of your dominant focus. Whatever you repeatedly think about, speak about, and give energy to becomes your reality. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your focus? Because every scroll, every conversation, every distraction is shaping the story of your life. You are training your mind every single day, either toward clarity or confusion. Focus is not something you find, it's something you build. It's a muscle, one that strengthens through repetition, through boundaries, through self-control. Think about this: every time you resist distraction, you teach your mind discipline. Every time you say no to noise, you remind yourself who's in charge. And every time you choose what matters most, even when it's hard, you sharpen your power. But to truly understand focus, you must first understand what steals it. Distraction doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes it looks like busyness. It's the endless cycle of doing things that feel productive but move you nowhere. It's checking your phone instead of checking your thoughts. It's being everywhere, except here. Distraction is the silent killer of greatness. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It erodes you slowly, piece by piece, moment by moment. And that's why focus is a spiritual practice, not just a mental one, because to focus deeply, you must learn to be still. You must learn to quiet the noise, to detach from the constant pull of the outside world, and return home to the present moment. Focus begins where presence begins. When you're truly present, your energy aligns, your mind stops scattering, your actions gain power. You start noticing the beauty in simplicity, the strength in silence, the wisdom in waiting. In a world that demands your constant attention, presence is rebellion, and focus is freedom. There's a moment every day when you must decide: will you react or will you create? Because focus is a choice, and every choice is shaping your destiny. You can either focus on what drains you or on what develops you. You can focus on your excuses or your evolution. You can focus on what's missing or on what's possible. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life grows. So how do you reclaim your focus in a world built to steal it? You start small, but you start deliberately. When you wake up, don't reach for your phone, reach for your thoughts. Ask yourself, what deserves my attention today? Not what demands it, what deserves it. Because not everything urgent is important, and not everything loud is valuable. Then choose 3 things, just 3, that truly matter to your growth. Pour your full energy into them, nothing else. Chapter 5: The Discipline of Consistency. Building momentum that never breaks. There's a moment in every journey when excitement fades. The fire that once burned so bright begins to flicker. You start to feel the weight of repetition, the grind of effort, the slow, quiet pull of fatigue. That's the crossroads where most people stop. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack vision, but because they never learned the discipline of consistency. Consistency, it's not glamorous. It doesn't shout. It doesn't sparkle. It's quiet, steady, almost invisible. But make no mistake, it's the single greatest force behind every life that has ever changed the world. Consistency is what separates temporary effort from lasting transformation. It's the difference between someone who starts strong and someone who finishes strong. Because success doesn't belong to those who begin fast. It belongs to those who refuse to stop. Think about a drop of water falling onto stone. One drop means nothing. 10 drops mean little. But thousands, over time, carve a mark that no hammer could make. That's consistency. Gentle, patient, unstoppable power. You see, most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's about forcing themselves to do hard things once in a while. But real discipline isn't built in the moments of intensity. It's built in the moments of repetition, when no one's watching, when motivation is gone, when it's easier not to. Leaders, real leaders, understand this truth deeply. They know that growth isn't a single event, it's a pattern. They build routines, not just results. They show up every day, especially when it's inconvenient, because they know consistency compounds. Let me tell you something simple, yet life-changing. Small, repeated actions done with intention are far more powerful than bursts of inspiration that fade by morning. You don't rise because you did something great once. You rise because you did something small, again and again and again, until it became part of who you are. Consistency is the bridge between your goals and your results. It's the thread that turns effort into excellence. It's what transforms potential into power. But here's the challenge. Consistency doesn't feel good at first. It feels repetitive. It feels boring. Your mind will try to convince you that you're not making progress because it can't see the growth that's happening beneath the surface. Think of a seed. For weeks, nothing seems to happen. You water it, you care for it, but the soil looks the same. Then one day it breaks through, not because of one drop of water, but because of every drop that came before. That's how discipline works. That's how consistency works. When you stay consistent, you are rewriting your identity. Every action is a vote for the person you want to become. Every repetition is a quiet declaration of who you're choosing to be. You might not see results today, but if you keep showing up, they'll come. And when they do, they'll come all at once, like a wave that's been building beneath the surface for years. The secret to consistency is not perfection. It's commitment. It's the willingness to keep going, even when you fall short. Because the truth is, no one is perfectly consistent. Even the most disciplined people have off days. But what makes them different is that they come back faster. They forgive the slip, but they never abandon the standard. Consistency isn't about never missing. It's about never quitting. Every day you stay consistent, you build momentum, invisible energy that begins to work for you. Momentum makes hard things easier. It carries you forward even when your motivation fades. That's why staying consistent matters most when you feel like it matters least. When you're tired, stay consistent. When you're uninspired, stay consistent. When you're uninspired, stay consistent. Because that's when the real transformation begins. Think about it like this. A single brick means nothing, but lay a brick every day, perfectly, patiently, and one day you'll look up and see a wall standing tall. That wall wasn't built overnight. It was built through daily faithfulness. Quiet, steady, unshakable consistency. Leaders don't rise because they do extraordinary things once in a while. They rise because they do ordinary things with extraordinary commitment. They understand that progress doesn't shout. It whispers. It hides inside routine, inside structure, inside discipline. And here's something else to remember. Consistency isn't just about habits. It's about integrity. It's about being the same person privately that you claim to be publicly. It's about honoring your word, especially to yourself, because when you repeatedly break promises to yourself, your confidence erodes. But when you keep them, your self-trust grows stronger than steel. Every time you follow through, you're telling your mind, I can count on me. And that belief changes everything. It gives your voice authority, your actions weight, your presence strength. That's how leaders are made, not by titles, not by talent, but by consistency. So if you truly want to talk like a leader, act like one first. Because your words only carry power when your actions back them up, and consistency is what gives your words credibility. People listen to those who live what they say. They follow those whose habits speak louder than their speeches. You can't fake consistency. You either live it or you don't. When you do, people feel it in your tone, your timing, your conviction, your calm. Consistency builds character, and character builds influence. It's the foundation upon which leadership stands. So ask yourself, what are you doing daily that reflects the person you want to become? Because greatness isn't born in grand gestures. It's born in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, and you choose to keep going anyway. That's the true discipline of consistency, showing up for your purpose even when the world doesn't notice. Stay faithful to the process, keep your word, and trust that every repetition is bringing you closer to mastery. Because one day, you'll look back and realize it wasn't one big breakthrough that changed your life. It was the thousands of small, consistent choices that built you into the leader you were always meant to be. As we move into the next chapter, we'll explore the next level of leadership, the power of authenticity. Because once you master consistency, the world must see the real you, not the version you think they want, but the one they can truly believe in. Chapter 6. The Power of Relentless Consistency. There's a quiet force that separates those who wish from those who win. It doesn't shout, it doesn't seek attention. It moves in silence, day after day, step after step, until one morning, the world looks up and realizes you've become unstoppable. That force is consistency. Not perfection, not motivation, just the simple, unglamorous act of showing up again and again, long after the excitement has faded. Every great transformation begins this way, not in bursts of energy or moments of hype, but in the quiet repetition of effort. The most powerful version of you isn't built in a single moment of inspiration. It's forged in the thousands of small, unseen moments when you could have quit, but didn't. You see, most people wait for the right time, the perfect mood, the ideal circumstance, the burst of motivation that never lasts. But the truth is, consistency doesn't wait for permission. It acts even when everything inside you screams to stop. It's not glamorous, but it's what changes everything. Consistency is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. It's what turns dreams into disciplines and goals into realities. It doesn't care how you feel, it only cares that you do. And when you commit to it fully, life begins to respond in ways you never imagined. Think about it. Every skill you've ever admired, discipline, focus, strength, patience, they're all born from the same root, consistent. Even greatness itself is nothing more than small, deliberate actions stacked over time. But here's the hard truth. Most people never stay long enough to see what consistency can truly do. They plant the seed, but never water it long enough to see it grow. They start strong, but when progress slows, or comfort calls, they retreat to old habits. They forget that mastery doesn't happen in days, it happens in seasons. Consistency isn't just about doing something every day. It's about who you become through the act of doing it. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust with your own mind. And when your mind begins to believe you're someone who follows through, everything changes. That's when discipline becomes identity. That's when effort becomes effortless. And that's when success stops being something you chase and starts being something you embody. But let's be honest, staying consistent isn't easy. It requires fighting the silent wars no one sees. The mornings when you wake up tired, the evenings when your mind says, just skip today. The days when results feel invisible and progress feels pointless. In those moments, you must remember, consistency is not about visible results. It's about invisible strength. It's about training your mind to show up even when your emotions resist. Because every time you show up despite the resistance, you grow stronger than the part of you that wanted to quit. That's how warriors are made, not by comfort, but by consistency. Every action, no matter how small, compounds. Every repetition sends a signal to your subconscious. This is who I am now, and one day, you'll wake up and realize that the person who struggled to stay consistent has been replaced by someone who can't imagine living any other way. That's the secret no one tells you. Consistency becomes easier when it becomes who you are. You stop needing motivation because your actions align with your identity. You stop chasing results because your effort is the result. But here's what's truly powerful. Consistency doesn't just build habits. It builds belief. Every time you show up, even in small ways, you prove to yourself that you are capable. And the more you prove that, the less you doubt your potential. Consistency is the quiet builder of self-worth. It teaches you that discipline is not punishment, it's love. Because when you show up for your dreams, your health, your growth, even when it's hard, you're saying to yourself, I matter, my future matters, and that kind of self-respect can't be faked. It's earned, one consistent choice at a time. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped quitting halfway? If you gave your dreams the same energy every single day, not just when it felt convenient? How different would your life be 6 months from now if you simply refused to break your own promises? Because that's all consistency really is, the art of keeping promises to yourself, the decision to no longer betray your own potential, the quiet courage to stay when others would walk away. And here's the truth that changes everything. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to do it again. Today, tomorrow, the day after that. Even imperfect effort counts. Even slow progress matters. Momentum isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in daily follow-through. And once you find your rhythm, consistency becomes your greatest strength. Because once you become consistent, the world can no longer predict you. You no longer stop when it's hard, or when no one's watching. You don't need applause, validation, or proof. You just move forward, quietly, powerfully, and relentlessly. That's what makes you dangerous. Not your talent, not your luck, but your refusal to stop showing up. So remember this, your breakthrough will not arrive on a day that feels magical. It will arrive on an ordinary day, after hundreds of ordinary efforts, when suddenly everything clicks. And you'll realize that it wasn't luck or timing, it was consistency that carried you here. That's the power of relentless consistency. It transforms the invisible into the undeniable. It turns the impossible into the inevitable. So stay steady, stay committed, stay consistent, even when no one sees, even when no one claps. Because your time is coming, and when it does, the world will call it overnight success. But you'll know the truth. It was the result of every quiet, consistent step you took when no one was watching. And that's the kind of power that can't be taken away. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into that hidden force that sustains consistency, the mindset that makes you unstoppable, even when your motivation fades. Because once you master that, there's nothing left in this world that can stop you. Chapter 7, The Mindset of Influence. Speaking from the inside out, there's a moment when words stop being just words. When they move beyond sound and ink, beyond conversation and debate, and begin to carry weight, invisible, undeniable, magnetic weight. It's in that moment that a person speaks like a leader. But here's the truth, no speech, no clever phrase, no performance can create this effect on its own. The power of influence begins long before your mouth opens. It begins inside. Your mind shapes your words, your beliefs shape your tone. Your inner convictions shape the energy that flows from you. When you speak without alignment, when your words contradict your inner truth, people sense it instantly. There's no trust, no authority, no weight. But when your mind, your heart, and your voice are in harmony, something extraordinary happens. People listen, they lean in, they feel the truth before they even understand it. This chapter is about that alignment, about the mindset that makes your words not just heard, but felt. Because leadership isn't about talking more loudly or speaking more often. It's about speaking from a place of clarity, purpose, and inner authority. Influence starts with belief, deep, unwavering belief in yourself, in your vision, and in the value of what you have to say. Without that belief, your words float like feathers on the wind. Light, directionless, powerless. With it, they land like stones, impossible to ignore, impossible to dismiss. Consider the leaders you admire. Their voices weren't charismatic because of tone or technique alone. They were magnetic because they spoke from experience, from conviction, from a mind that had chosen to believe in its own power. And that's the foundation, your inner state. If your mind is uncertain, your words tremble. If your mind is cluttered, your speech wanders. If your mind is small, your voice feels small too. The first step in speaking like a leader is mastery over your own mind. Not control in a rigid sense, but clarity, awareness, understanding the thoughts that shape your feelings and the feelings that shape your words. You must become deliberate with your inner dialogue. Every thought, every belief, every self-assessment is a seed, and the words that emerge are the fruit. If you nurture doubt, fear, and confusion, your words will carry them. If you cultivate confidence, clarity, and calm, your words will resonate with authority. But mindset alone isn't enough. Influence demands emotional presence. You must feel what you speak. You must embody the energy of your message, because humans sense emotion at a level deeper than logic. You can argue a point perfectly and still fail to move anyone if your words lack emotional resonance. Imagine a leader standing silently in a room full of people. Without saying a single word, the energy in their presence speaks volumes. Confidence radiates, calm commands attention, purpose draws the eye. That energy, born of a disciplined mind and aligned emotions, precedes speech, and when the leader finally speaks, the words carry a weight they never could have achieved without that inner foundation. So, the next time you prepare to speak, pause, check in with your mind, ask yourself, am I clear? Am I grounded? Do I believe this? If not, the words can wait. The message isn't urgent until the messenger is ready. True influence is also about listening. Not just hearing words, but feeling the needs, fears, and desires behind them. When you understand the minds and hearts of others, your words find the right landing place. Influence is never about domination or persuasion alone. It's about connection, resonance, and alignment. Every leader, every speaker, every person whose words leave impact knows this. It's not the vocabulary, it's not the tone alone, it's the alignment of thought, feeling, and intent. And here's the subtle secret: authenticity magnifies influence. People are drawn to those who speak with truth, even when it's uncomfortable. They sense when someone is real, not performing, not pretending, and they respond with trust and attention. Your words are only as strong as your inner commitment. You cannot fake belief. You cannot borrow conviction. You cannot hide from your own doubt. The mind must be clear. The heart must be honest. The voice must reflect both. Practice this daily. Watch your thoughts. Feel your emotions. Align them with the message you intend to convey. Even small conversations are opportunities to cultivate the mindset of influence. Every interaction, every sentence, every question, all are exercises in internal alignment. Influence is not manipulation, it is resonance. It is creating a vibration that naturally attracts, guides and inspires others. And that vibration begins inside, in the clarity of your thoughts, the honesty of your emotions, and the integrity of your intentions. So before you speak, prepare your mind. Before you react, steady your emotions. Before you try to lead others, lead yourself. When you do this, words become more than sound. They become instruments of change. They become seeds planted in fertile minds. They become the bridge between vision and reality. And one final note. Influence is a lifelong practice. Your inner alignment is never complete, but it can always improve. Every conversation, every presentation, every choice to speak or stay silent is a chance to refine your presence, sharpen your clarity, and deepen your resonance. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the art of authority, how your presence, your posture, and your silent energy amplify the power of your word. Because once your mindset is aligned, the next level of leadership emerges naturally, the kind of presence that compels attention without demanding it and inspires action without force. Chapter 8: The Authority of Presence. Owning the room without saying a word. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine walking into a room, not just any room, a room filled with people whose attention is fragmented, whose minds are busy with countless distractions. Now imagine that as you enter, the energy shifts, the chatter softens, eyes lift, conversations pause. Without speaking, without demanding it, you command attention. This is the power of presence, the kind of authority that doesn't need to be announced, argued for, or earned in a single moment. It's cultivated quietly, deliberately, in every action, in every habit, in every choice about how you carry yourselves. Presence is more than posture, more than tone, more than confidence. It is the invisible energy you radiate, a combination of clarity, focus, self-trust, and inner calm. When presence is strong, people listen. They feel your authority before they hear your words. They respond to the energy you bring, not the script you recite. Think of leaders you've admired, the ones whose words stick with you long after they leave the room. It wasn't always their speech that captivated you. It was the weight behind it, the unmistakable alignment between who they are and what they say. They embodied their message before they even delivered it. Presence begins with self-mastery. You cannot project authority if your mind is scattered, your thoughts chaotic, or your emotions uncontrolled. Every habit, every daily practice that strengthens focus and discipline feeds your presence. Consistency, reflection, and intentionality are not just tools. They are the scaffolding upon which your authority stands. But presence is also about being grounded in the moment. Too often, we speak while distracted by yesterday's failures or tomorrow's worries. A leader who truly owns a room is anchored in the now. Their energy is stable, their voice calm, their eyes intentional, and the people around them can sense it. They feel steadiness, reliability, and confidence. Physical presence matters too. Posture, gestures, and movement all communicate power or weakness without a single word. Standing tall, shoulders back, feet grounded, head aligned, these are not mere formalities. They are signals to the world, and more importantly, to yourself, that you are ready to lead. Yet presence is not dominance. It is not intimidation. True presence invites. It encourages attention naturally. It allows people to trust, to open, to follow willingly. Authority that relies on force is fleeting. Authority that arises from presence is magnetic, enduring, and authentic. Now let's consider your voice, a crucial extension of presence. Even before speaking, your breath, your pacing, and your subtle inflections convey energy. A calm, measured delivery signals control. A hurried, clipped tone signals uncertainty. By aligning your inner state with the cadence of your speech, you make your presence felt in every syllable. Presence also demands awareness of space, how you occupy it, how you move through it, how you respond to the energy of others. These are silent conversations that speak volumes. A single person who is truly present can transform the energy of an entire room. The paradox of presence is that it begins with humility. You can't dominate or control others with authenticity. You must first master yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions. Only then can you project a magnetic authority that draws people in rather than pushes them away. Imagine someone entering a crowded room. They carry no title, no accolades, no announcements, yet everyone listens, not because they demand it, but because they are aligned, they are grounded, they are deliberate. Their presence alone commands respect, curiosity, and trust. You can cultivate this authority. It starts with awareness, noticing how you show up, how your energy affects others, how your body communicates before your words. It deepens with practice, refining posture, voice, and timing until they align seamlessly with your intention. And it solidifies with discipline, the daily commitment to be present, authentic, and grounded, no matter the circumstances. Presence is amplified when paired with preparation. Knowing your material, your vision, and your purpose allows you to relax in the moment, unafraid of judgment or error. Preparedness frees you to focus on connection rather than performance, and connection, above all else, is what makes authority felt rather than forced. A room responds not just to what you say, but to the energy you carry. The calmness in your mind, the focus in your gaze, the quiet confidence in your stance, these are all louder than words. Presence is the silent amplifier of influence, the invisible bridge between thought and impact. And here's the final truth. Presence is earned, not claimed. You cannot fake it. You cannot borrow it. You cultivate it through deliberate choices, disciplined habits, and unwavering self-mastery. The more you align internally, the more your external authority grows. So, as you move forward in this journey, remember this: your words will only carry the weight of your presence, your influence will only be as strong as the energy you project, and your ability to lead without saying a word begins with how fully you inhabit yourself. In the next chapter, we will explore the art of persuasion, the subtle, profound techniques that allow your aligned presence and authentic words to inspire action, spark trust, and move people toward your vision. Because once you understand presence, the next step is learning how to translate that energy into real, meaningful impact. Chapter 9. The Art of Persuasion. Inspiring action through authentic influence. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast canyon, the wind pulling at your clothes, the sun illuminating every contour of the landscape before you. Now imagine trying to convince someone to step forward with you, not with threats, not with pressure, but with words so compelling, so aligned with truth, that they feel drawn to leap because they want to. This is the art of persuasion, not manipulation, not force, not theatrics, but the profound ability to inspire action by aligning your presence, your words, and your intentions with the needs and aspirations of others. Persuasion begins within. It starts with clarity, clarity of purpose, clarity of message, clarity of self. You cannot inspire trust if you are uncertain. You cannot move hearts if your own is unsettled. And you cannot lead minds if your intention is clouded by ego or hidden agendas. True persuasion is about connection. It's about understanding deeply and intuitively what the other person values, fears, and dreams of. When you can step into another's perspective without losing your own, your words become bridges rather than walls. They become invitations, not commands. Consider the most memorable conversations you've ever had. Were they driven by coercion, by pressure, or were they moments where someone spoke with authenticity, with alignment, with a conviction so clear that it was impossible not to listen? That is persuasion at its highest form. Your mindset plays a critical role. People are influenced not by your volume, but by your calm certainty. They follow those who believe deeply in what they stand for, not because they demand obedience, but because their conviction resonates with something inside everyone around them. When your inner energy is grounded, your words carry weight naturally. Language matters, but more than language is intention. Persuasive speech is not about clever phrasing. It's about truth expressed with empathy and purpose. It's about showing that you understand, that you care, and that you have thought deeply about what you are asking someone to consider. Let's pause here. Think about a moment when someone persuaded you, really persuaded you. Chances are, it wasn't through technical jargon or loud insistence. It was because their words reflected a depth of understanding. They saw you, they acknowledged you, and they offered a path forward that made sense, felt safe, and aligned with your own desires. Persuasion is also about timing and rhythm. Even the most powerful arguments fall flat when delivered in haste or without awareness of the emotional landscape. A pause, a well-timed question, a moment of silence. These are tools as potent as any words you could speak. They allow your audience to breathe, to process, to choose, and in choice they find ownership of the decision. But influence without integrity is fleeting. People sense dishonesty, half-truths, and hidden motives. When persuasion is authentic, grounded in respect and truth, it cultivates trust. Trust then becomes the engine of action. Without it, even the most compelling arguments collapse. Storytelling is one of the most powerful forms of persuasion. A narrative connects ideas to emotion. It paints pictures in the mind, facts inform, but stories inspire. When you weave your message into a narrative that touches shared experiences, values, or aspirations, you activate both intellect and emotion. And that is the doorway to influence. Another subtle yet vital component is listening. Persuasion is not a monologue, it is a dialogue, a dance between giving and receiving. By listening first, you learn what truly matters to the other person. By responding with empathy, you demonstrate understanding. And when you speak, your words resonate because they are tailored to the heart of their needs. Confidence, presence, authenticity, and empathy, these are the pillars of persuasive influence. When aligned, they allow you to move people not by force, but by resonance. When misaligned, even the most skillful rhetoric rings hollow. Here's a truth that transforms the way leaders communicate. People act not because they are told to, but because they feel empowered to. The best persuasion makes others feel capable, inspired, and motivated to choose action of their own accord. It hands over ownership rather than demanding compliance. And it starts small. Every conversation is practice. Every meeting is an opportunity. Every exchange, whether personal or professional, is a chance to refine your ability to persuade with authenticity. You learn to notice the subtle reactions, the pauses, the energy shifts that tell you whether your words are landing or falling flat. You adjust, with respect and awareness, until influence flows naturally. But perhaps the most overlooked aspect of persuasion is patience. True influence rarely occurs in a single moment. It accumulates over time through repeated demonstration of integrity, reliability, and alignment. When people see you living your values consistently, your words carry far more weight. They follow not because of a single speech, but because of the story of your life. Imagine the power of persuasion when combined with presence, mindset, and authentic speech. Your words no longer float. They land. They inspire action. They create belief. They shape perception and ignite momentum. Remember, persuasion is not about bending others to your will. It's about guiding, inspiring, and inviting them to a shared vision. It's about helping others see possibilities they may have overlooked. It's about creating alignment between intention and action, desire and outcome. As you move forward, commit to practicing influence with integrity. Observe, listen, respond and refine. Use your presence and mindset to strengthen every word. Speak from truth, not from ego. Invite action, don't demand it. And in the next chapter, we will bring everything together: presence, mindset, consistency, persuasion, and explore the ultimate transformation, speaking like a leader in every moment of your life. Because mastery isn't just about the stage, the meeting or the audience. It's about embodying leadership wherever you go, in every word, in every interaction, in every breath. Chapter 10, Speaking Like a Leader, the Transformation of Words into Influence. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a single word. A word so powerful that it can change the course of a conversation, shift the energy of a room, and ignite action in the hearts of those who hear it. Now imagine stringing together sentences, ideas, and stories with the same magnetic clarity, a language that doesn't just communicate, but transforms. This is the culmination of everything we've explored together: presence, mindset, authenticity, persuasion, now converging into the art of speaking like a leader, not just on a stage, in a meeting, or in a moment of importance, but in every exchange, every conversation, every interaction you have. Speaking like a leader is not about impressing others, it's about alignment. Your words, your energy, your intention, all moving in the same direction. When you speak from this place, people don't just hear you, they feel you. They sense the integrity behind every sentence, the clarity in every thought, and the confidence in every pause. Think back to all the leaders you've admired, the ones whose words left an imprint on your mind and a spark in your heart. What made them memorable wasn't eloquence alone, it was their ability to connect with truth, to communicate vision with clarity, and to inspire trust effortlessly. They spoke in a way that reflected their inner mastery, and that authenticity became their authority. Every word you speak carries weight, whether you realize it or not. Each sentence can build bridges or barriers. Every phrase has the power to uplift or undermine. To speak like a leader, you must first cultivate awareness of your words and the energy behind them. Pause before speaking. Consider the impact. Align your message with purpose. Listening is a secret component of leadership speech. A leader listens not only to respond, but to understand, to observe, and to shape words that resonate. By hearing the unspoken, by sensing the subtle cues of emotion and intention in others, your words become precise, relevant, and deeply impactful. Clarity is the heartbeat of effective leadership speech. Confused words breed confusion, hesitation weakens influence. But when your message is clear, concise, and intentional, it becomes irresistible. People follow clarity. They trust clarity. They act on clarity. But clarity alone is not enough. Your delivery, the rhythm, tone, and pacing of your voice must match your message. A slow, deliberate pause can emphasize a critical point. A subtle shift in tone can convey empathy, urgency, or inspiration. Your voice is the vessel that carries presence into action, turning words into energy that others can feel. Authenticity is the glue that binds it all together. You cannot speak as a leader if your words contradict your action. Your audience senses every inconsistency, every hidden agenda, every falter in conviction. Leadership speech is born of alignment. Alignment between who you are, what you believe, and what you communicate. Stories amplify your influence, facts inform, but narratives inspire. When you wrap your message in a story of challenge, growth, or possibility, you create emotional resonance. People don't just remember words, they remember the feeling those words evoke. The next secret is adaptability. Every audience is unique. Every moment carries different energy. Speaking like a leader means reading the room, sensing the rhythm, and adjusting without losing the core of your message. It is the balance of consistency and flexibility, intention and responsiveness. Confidence underpins all of this. Not arrogance, not loudness, not the need to dominate. True confidence is quiet, it is calm, it is grounded in preparation and self-trust. When you speak with confidence, hesitation disappears, doubt loses its voice, and others naturally follow your lead. Now let us not forget the power of silence. Pauses are not empty spaces, they are moments of gravity. They give listeners time to absorb, reflect, and connect. A well-timed pause can make your message linger long after you have spoken. Speaking like a leader is ultimately about service. Your words must serve clarity, connection, and action. They must illuminate a path forward, inspire courage, and create belief. The goal is not to impress, but to empower, not to dominate, but to guide, not to speak, but to transform. Imagine now stepping into a conversation, meeting, or presentation. Your presence fills the room. Your words are clear, deliberate, and authentic. Your energy invites attention. Your stories spark understanding. Your pauses give space for reflection. Your voice inspires trust. And as you speak, people listen, not because they must, but because they want to. This is leadership speech in its highest form. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to influence, to inspire, and to leave a lasting impact. Every word, intentional. Every story, meaningful. Every pause, deliberate. You are no longer just speaking. You are guiding, shaping, and transforming. And here is the final truth. Mastery of speech is not a destination. It is a lifelong practice. Presence, mindset, clarity, authenticity, empathy, persuasion. They must be refined daily, in every conversation, in every interaction. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, and the more natural it becomes, the more profoundly your words impact the world. So take this moment as the beginning of your transformation. Every conversation you have from now on is a chance to lead. Every sentence an opportunity to inspire. Every pause a doorway to connection. You have now walked the path from awareness to presence, from mindset to persuasion, and finally, to speaking like a leader. Your journey does not end here. It expands with every word you speak, every interaction you embrace, and every life you touch with your voice. Step forward, speak with intention, lead with authenticity, and watch as your words become more than sound. They become influence, they become inspiration, they become leadership.